Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for the Blacklist Season 10, Episode 15 and Episode 16. Okay, there's really a lot to talk about here. We got to talk about schedule changes,
Mm-hmm.
some of the little teases that we've seen in the photos, synopses. Also, we'll get into a little bit of the reported titles for the end of this season, aka series, a sentence that I do not want to say. I
Oh,
want to go cry in a corner.
I know. It's really feels like it's going very quickly. I mean, we only really have a month and a half left of episodes. We're going to have a couple of double episodes, including the one, like you said, coming up this week. I mean, this week we're eating so well when it comes to Blacklist. I mean,
Yeah,
we had an episode on Sunday. Now we're going to have two more on Thursday. I'd like it to be spread out, but I can't complain getting this many episodes.
yeah, it's gonna be, I think, a good opportunity to us to kind of really get into the meat of what is the rest of this series actually about, because we've just sort of been swimming around. Okay, I don't know if that's swimming. I don't know what that looks like. Let's just pretend that never happened. But we have been spending all this time just like swimming around in this nothingness ever since the Wu Jing arc really ended.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have Congressman Hudson, I guess, but it's just sort of like, is that gonna be enough? We'll talk about all of that within. But before we do go further, be sure to check out our Patreon, because we have a link for that in the description below.
Mm-hmm.
There are already a number of exclusive Blacklist videos over there, including a discussion about what the end game could be for all of these different characters. And we will have another exclusive video there later this week. Thank you to everyone who has supported us on Patreon so far.
Yes, thank you so much. And if there's some videos that you want us to make for our Patreon, you got some questions, let us know below for the Blacklist. I mean, we also have a video over there on whether or not Megan Boone is coming back and
Mhm.
some of the things that we've seen out there that lead us to believe that she could be. It's not confirmed,
Yeah.
but we're leaning that it could be happening. We've seen some stuff out there. So that's over on our Patreon as well. And thank you so much again
Yeah.
to everybody who is supporting us over there. Also, I just want to put
Yeah.
out there with the Blacklist ending, we want to know what else you guys are watching
Yeah.
because we have spent so many years with you guys
Yes.
covering this show and talking about this show. And we want to be able to continue to cover other shows that you guys are also watching that are, kind of in the same vein as the Blacklist. We want to keep the conversation going. The Blacklist doesn't have to be the end.
Yeah.
We will miss you guys too much.
Exactly. So yeah, please let us know what you're checking out in the comments. So the very first thing to talk about here, it's like these two episodes, obviously Thursday starting at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
The title for episode 15 is The Hat Trick. And I will admit, when I first saw this title, I was like full tinfoil. I was just like, all right, let's go. Let's make this happen, because I was like, okay, this is the sequel to The Man in the Hat. Now, unfortunately, I thought all of this before we actually saw the Man in the Hat, and then it was just like, okay, it's just a coincidence that we have the word hat in like two episodes over the course of the past several.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what the synopsis is. Okay. In an effort to prove their worth to Congressman Hudson, because as we know, they haven't really been able to do that. We just saw the last episode where they're getting their cases from Charlene now.
Yeah.
Okay. Red provides the task force with 3 cases. 3.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Okay. And they are way deeper than they appear.
Yeah. I think this could be fun. I think we have obvious criticism sometimes with these like case of the week stories that they go on too long. They don't really go anywhere. You don't learn a lot about some of the characters. And it's just sort of like, if a case like that is taking 30 minutes out of like the 42 to 45 we get without commercials, it's a little bit annoying. But if we're getting 3 cases that are really, really fast, you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of mix things up a little bit. They will all feel like we're getting in, we get our answer, we get out. Also, not everything has to make as much sense. Like, what I mean by this is you can go really weird and not actually really explain everything to us and just allow us to sort of draw various conclusions here. Like, let's say that one of Brimley's goats just runs away and is somehow mixed up in a crime, and there's like a goat at the crime scene, and you're like, Why is the goat at the crime scene? It's like, oh, there's not enough time to explain it. Let's just get on to the next story. It can work in the hat trick in the way it does in other episodes.
Okay, speaking of the next story as part of this episode, also, Wrestler is going to help a friend make amends. So I think that this is going to be the rest of his story that we've seen, that he's become a sponsor and that he's helping this other man, get through things. So I think maybe this person's going to start making amends as part of the program.
Yeah, I know that there are people out there that are like, okay, there's something wrong with this guy. This guy's clearly up to
It's because
something.
this show has made us so paranoid that nobody is what they seem.
I hope that he is what he seems, like, to be perfectly honest. Like, not everybody on this show needs to be like some sort of secret double agent or working with some high-level organization. Can't Donald Wrestler just have some peace and just help somebody after, let's see, losing multiple women he cared about over the years, the aftermath of Liz, his addiction?
Yeah, I know. There is so much going on with him. And I mean, if we're going to lose the task force, it would be nice to sort of see what else he can get into. And maybe this is it.
Okay, so the second episode that we're going to get is titled Blair Foster. Like, what an interesting development. An actual name that feels like it could be the name of a blacklister as opposed to the hat trick or the man in the hat. So when a corrupt lawyer is linked to a string of corporate cover-ups, Red helps the task force investigate her operation. Senator Panabaker.
All right.
Oh, yeah. And Cooper await a judge's decision on the fate of the task force.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this wasn't, this is so tough, man.
Yeah.
Like, if this wasn't the final season, I would be like, well, of course the task force is going to be able to stay together. They're going to be doing more cases forever. But this is the final season, and they were only like a month and a half of episodes left here. I'm getting pretty worried that they're going to have to shut it down. And we have seen this in series finales with shows that have task force or people that are working on things like Criminal Minds. They didn't shut it down. We knew that they were still out there fighting crime,
Yeah.
but then we had like the series finale of Bones, where it was like everything was kind of shut down, at least for a little while, like seemingly at least a couple of months or whatever. That was like, oh, they're not really doing anything right now, or for a while, or forever. I mean, I just think that it makes the most sense that this has to be shut down.
I'm sure that Panabaker and Cooper are going to do whatever they can to try and fight for this, but
maybe they'll be off the books for a little while.
I'm all in on that.
Listen, Harold lives in a gray area. Like, a lot of times he will try to do the right thing, but he lives in the gray area. If he thinks that something is for the greater good, he will live in that gray area.
Why not just have everybody go over to Reddington's bathhouse and then just work there at this point? I mean,
he makes great coffee.
Yeah, Sia's basically living there already. So it's just like, how big of a transition is this really? Now, I mean, it seems like the big cog in a lot of this is just that this Congressman Arthur Hudson is a dog with a bone. He clearly seems out to have a big win on his resume. I still do not understand why he is supposed to be threatening to us, why we're supposed to be worried about this guy. Now, here is where things get a little bit complicated, and I may end up having a serious beef and or losing my mind at the show.
All right, here we go.
So, let me make it clear. These episode titles we're going to be talking about, these are not confirmed. Like, this is coming out there from Spoiler TV. They don't have a specific source on it, but...
No, and the other place that we've seen this is Reddit, and Reddit is hit and miss. I mean, it's... whoever wants to post something can post something. So, it's take it for what it is. It's not confirmed.
Yeah. So the title of episode 20 is Arthur Hudson. And I'm just sitting here being like, if this guy is number 2 on the blacklist, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, I do not care about this guy. This guy is going to have to reveal himself as, like, I don't know, a secret family member of, like, Berlin or Alexander Kirk or, like, some other villain from the past for me to be like, okay, this guy is actually a serious threat that I meant to be like shaking in my boots over.
I don't think he's going to be number 2. Like, if he is, I'm also going to have a beef with that, because like Reddington, this is Reddington's list.
Yeah.
If Reddington wants the task force to continue, then he would have been feeding them cases. And I know he's finally going to step up and be like, all right, I'll give you here's some cases or whatever. But he doesn't seem like he's interested anymore. He has wiped himself from the database. He's not really participating anymore. If Hudson wants to come in and close down the task force, then maybe that's the thing that Reddington's like, oh, cool, like I can go and be anywhere in the world and live my life, and that's the end of it, sort of thing. Goodbye. It's usually someone who is a threat to Reddington, and right now Reddington's not even connected with the task force anymore, so if he digs in there, there's nothing to find on Reddington.
This is where we can offer at least a little bit of solace. At least the finale is not Arthur Hudson.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. If Arthur Hudson was the finale, I don't know if there'd be any way we could go on at this point. I think we would just have to explode the computer and I'll just move on with our lives.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 episodes are allegedly titled Raymond Reddington and Raymond Reddington Goodnight. And I mean, lots of us out there have thought that he's going to be number 2 on the list because who would be the biggest threat to him? Probably himself.
Yeah, and I love the title of Raymond Reddington Goodnight. There's something so simple about it. It feels kind of heartbreaking for all of us who are worried that Reddington is going to die, myself included.
Yeah, Goodnight makes me worried that he's going to die. Like I wish that it was goodbye because it's like, see you later. I'm gonna go sit on this beach for the rest of my life.
It is worrisome, but I know we have a good bit of time before we get there. We'll see exactly where things develop from now until then.
Yeah, and so for those of you who don't know, the finale is July 13th, and it is a double episode. It will be those last 2 Raymond Reddington episodes.
And then we will all say goodnight. We will dive into our pints of ice cream.
Oh,
and
no!
We will just
you guys will give us other shows that you are watching, and we will dive into that with our ice cream.
Okay, as long as ice cream is still involved, I'm going to need the ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is what you guys can expect a little bit later this week.
Yeah, and as far as our schedule, we're now going to be putting up our Blacklist reviews on Thursdays shortly after the episode airs, and then we're looking at putting up our previews on Fridays.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out that Patreon. We have all those exclusive Blacklist videos, another one coming later this week. Thank you so much to all you patrons who are supporting us over there. And we will see you here next time.